Hey, folks, welcome to Good News York. I'm your host, Matt Major from Growth Mode Content. Sitting next to me is my smiley, as always, sidekick, Mikey B.
I am smiling. I'm in a very good mood.
Yeah.
So we have Brian Enck coming in today,
Yes.
and I love Brian. And we've got it's Tuesday Newsday.
Newsday.
We're getting a pizza party. You just told me
We are.
seconds ago.
We are. So we're going to have a little celebration a little later, and we'll break right into this. So very excited to celebrate our Growth Mode Content team. Recently, if you've been perusing the TikTok, you will notice there's a clip featuring this friendly guy and our man Dan Garcia from the Garage at 3100. That clip has 120,000 views.
I forgot to ask you, that's our most viewed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's cool is if you look at our aggregate numbers, from all the different clips, since we put out so many every day, that's a consistent organic content strategy that we do for all our clients. You will see that we got great combined numbers, but for a single video, this is one of the best ones that we put out.
But tell them what we're talking about in the
We're
video.
talking about oil changes.
This is wild.
We're getting expert advice from Dan, the proprietor of these local auto businesses. But I love it because everybody sort of has an opinion, even folks that don't necessarily disagree. Like we get
I know.
incredible interaction from folks that are like, yep, that's what I do.
Yeah. It's like, nope, 3,000.
Cool.
I owned one thing. I owned a Chevy. I ran that thing in the ground 350,000 miles. I only changed the oil twice. And then someone's like, "You're an idiot. You should do it every 2,000." It's
wild.
It is wild, and it got me thinking. You always push this organic content. I mean, that is as organic as it gets.
Yeah.
I just asked the question, hey, just wondering, is it 3,000 miles,
Right.
5,000? What is it? Who knew that would, and I guess I chalk it up to this, because every time we think we figure out the algorithms, something like this happens, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's one of those things where we're getting continually better because we're figuring out these things, right? So you will see a continual growth, and what's very exciting, you'll see people and we're talking about 120,000 views, which is a huge number. But in internet terms, there's people like, oh, well, these guys get 1 million views on every video and all the time. And that's cool. What's exciting to me is we are going to do that. What we should keep in mind is this is a brand new account that we started only a couple of months ago. It's only got 2,000 followers on it, but they've been growing rapidly. And from scratch, this kind of
Organically
shows our entire point of why we're doing this growth mode content thing. It's why we have more businesses every day signing up to make podcasts and have us create this organic, consistent content. It works.
Yeah.
And you see that, we got this one great video, but also if you look back, you'll see all of our other videos. The numbers on them are continuing to grow. The audience is growing. The algorithm,
our clients' numbers,
is seeing what we're doing. And it's just, it's across the board. Consistency is the key in content. And that is also the hardest thing you do.
It really is.
And that's why our service exists.
I think, I was talking to you about it off the air a lot, and the only thing I can think of is, I'm like, how did we get 100,000 views on talking about oil changes? And then I remembered talking about that llama video and how much we got, like 20,000 views off of that. And I just got to thinking that, you know what it is? Everybody has to deal with oil changes in some capacity, right? It's an everyday every month, couple month thing. It's not something, and it's something that a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on, and I think that was the recipe that worked.
Well, and it's that, and then all the tried and true strategies that we deploy on every video, right? Where we use what they call a hook. That's the first couple of seconds that grabs you and keeps you in. It's got the right graphics that keeps your attention. It's got even the text that helps the search and on TikTok they call it the For You page, the algorithm that feeds it to people. Which, by the way, is almost all of the views from that. It is people that the algorithm has fed it to, which is the whole name of the game.
You know what always trips me out?
And I'm just very excited. And to celebrate that, we're going to get some pizza from them.
Yes. I could eat pizza for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. It's the only food.
I'll be honest,
I could eat
it sounds
cold or
cheesy.
hot. You You pepperoni, you.
I just want to celebrate something, and that was the quickest thing I could think
it's
of. Is
wonderful.
today? Let's have lunch and let's order some food for everybody.
Um,
But in all honesty, when we had a 1 million view video, we might throw like
Getting
a mini
subs.
ticker tape parade or something.
oh, parade.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
down the hallway.
I gotta say, you're talking about how people in the social media world are like, 100,000 views. I mean, that's not really that much.
Yeah.
Think about it in this term. This is what always blows my mind open. Imagine back in the day when we were growing up in television ratings.
Yeah.
Imagine 100,000 people seeing something you created.
Yeah.
That's like a stadium full of people. When you look at it that way, it's just like, how is this happening? But this is the world.
The average, you think a big name like cable news shows, like the all of the names that you can think of,
ABC News,
Fox, and CNN, and MSNBC, all those people, they don't average that many views per episode. They don't have that many viewers watching their TV show, and they get millions of dollars.
Maybe they should be talking about oil changes, and then they'll get their views.
Maybe they should just come to growth mode content. But like I said, it's cool. It's nice to see the strategy work. And the other part about that is, one of the reasons that we do Good News York is not just to share the good news of everything cool that's happening, but also be able to highlight our friends and colleagues in business. And that's what happened here. Our buddy Dan, his business with the garage at 3,100 got, and this is the stat that I like. So we talk about those views, that 121,000 views. Let me tell you exactly how that works out, though, in amount of time, because I think this is a cool stat that they track. Total play time, 878 hours.
Oh, yeah.
In 31 minutes.
I divided that by 24 hours.
That's over a month of continuous watch. So Dan at the garage at 3,100 got a month of continuous view time of people with eyes on him and his business and talking about his expertise.
In hours. In days, I guess. That's crazy.
What would you pay to get that from a billboard? What would you pay to get that from a radio ad?
I don't know.
What would you pay to even get that many eyeballs on a promoted Facebook ad? You would spend more than our clients spend in a month with us.
Yeah.
To do this every day.
Yes.
I didn't mean to turn this into a commercial.
No.
It blows my mind because this is literally like, this is why you fellas are here. This is how we're able to pay you. We're watching the formula work.
Well, we're
awesome.
You're leading the charge, man. We're
gonna eat some chicken wings.
We're gonna eat some chicken wings today.
That's the best part.
You ready for some news?
Yes. Tuesday Newsday.
All right, Tuesday Newsday. I'm kicking it off here with a story that's going to hit very close to home for you and I. We've discussed this at lengths.
Ooh.
New York is considering 4-day work week pilot programs. I fucking love
And when we
this.
say New York, we're talking about the state. We're talking about like
State of New York.
employees.
Yeah.
So
2 bills are being introduced for 4-day work week pilot programs in New York State. The bills were introduced by Assembly member Farah Souffrant Forrest. If passed, New York would be one step closer to a 32-hour work week. Now, let me pause for groans from the bootstrap crowd. Whoa, nobody wants to work anymore. Okay. What we know is that Farah Forrest, representing the 57th Assembly District in Brooklyn, has introduced 2 pilot programs at reducing the 5-day work week. One pilot program would establish a 4-day work week for state employees, and the other will offer tax incentives to private employees to run the pilot. Both bills.
Back tax
That's what I was going to say. Do you get prorated? They were introduced in February, and they are currently in the committee stage of the legislative process. I could go on to more details, but you get the gist. And I want to talk about that.
Yeah, that sounds like exactly something that should have been included in the budget rather than banning cell phones. But I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Supposed to do that.
Well, nobody knows that this is happening because they can't. The kids don't know because
That's
they
true.
can't use their phones. But let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
Because you have adopted this 4-day work week. As always, you're ahead of the curve. You're always ahead.
And in full disclosure, not 100%, right? There's a number of our employees that do work 5-day
Yes, I'm sorry.
schedules.
But some of us,
it's sort of position dependent.
Sure.
But we try to do that as much as possible.
There are some industries and some jobs where you cannot afford, literally, to only work 4 days. That's understandable.
Yeah.
There are certain things that it can't be done. But there are many positions where it can be done.
Well, and let me give you a breakdown of how it happens and kind of why we have that difference, just so folks understand. So our primary business at Growth Mode Technologies is IT support. That means when somebody needs something, we need to be there, like the fire department. Right?
Absolutely.
So we have to have people around the clock 5 days a week. But what we're able to do, because we have enough people on our team, is our IT teams work in alternating 4-day schedules. So some people have Monday off, some people have Friday off, but the company and our clients always have a full week of coverage in both situations. You guys here at Growth Mode Content, what we were able to do with that, because we were able to launch it from the jump, we don't have support. We don't have to be on call for clients. So that was very easy to make these positions immediately 4 days.
Yeah.
And eventually, as the company grows, only a couple people don't have that schedule. One of which is our new executive assistant that just stepped out. But as we grow, we'll get more of that type of position and allow them to go to that alternating 4-day. But it's just a better thing. And as a business, we have a client, one of our largest clients actually shifted their whole business schedule, so they're closed on Fridays. And if companies can do that, it's great.
Let me tell you something. The reason I'm so excited about this, and we've talked about this, first of all, the amount of moans and groans I get from friends and family that are like, oh, it's Thursday, that's your Friday, must be nice. And I said, hold on. I've worked my entire life in shitty jobs 5, 6, 7 days a week, but I'm not going to go down that road. But the point is,
Can I just say, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
No.
you, but my most favorite thing in the world that does not happen to me enough is people saying, must be nice. I love that because I fucking embrace it.
Okay, maybe I should.
Oh, it must be nice to have Fridays off.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Oh, man, it is incredible.
Yeah.
It's great. I get long weekends. I get to spend time with the kids. Like, fucking lean into it.
Okay, thank
People
you.
that try to
going to.
shame you with
And
positive
it works.
things.
I feel guilty after.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Well, I love you. So
Must be nice. It's great.
it is great. And
Must be nice to have $1 to buy pizza.
It is.
It is. Pizza's so fucking good.
It must be nice to have a riding more. I fucking love it. Absolutely.
Obsessed with pizza right now.
No, so it goes deeper for me though, because in my last semester at college, I didn't know I had to find 3 more credits. And so my advisor goes, well, just think, I couldn't find anything. What was a class or professor you liked? And I particularly loved my sociology professor from the first semester. And she goes, well, he's got like a 300 level sociology course called Work and Family. So I took it. And the whole thing was where we studied the workforce in other countries.
Oh, wow.
Compared to ours. And so in Italy and other in European countries, they have 4-day work weeks. And they're interviewing these people from these factories and from all these different industries. And they're saying, so you pay your employees way more than minimum wage. You give them 3 weeks vacation or 4 weeks vacation a year, and they only work 4 days a week. Doesn't that hurt your production? Don't you find that they're slacking? And they all looked at them and immediately shut it right down and said, no, it's the opposite. And this is why I truly believe here in the United States, we do have to adopt this eventually, because the whole idea is if you're paying people enough to where they can afford to live, if they can afford to take care of themselves when they are sick, and if they have time to spend with their families, they're going to be happier, healthier, they will be more loyal and stay longer. And therefore, overall, everybody wins. You're getting the best out of your employees, which increases production. And I don't know why we can't wrap our fucking heads around this.
It's that old school mantra. What you need to understand is the United States is a corporation that masquerades as a country. Everything in our existence is programmed to be workers. You know, that George Carlin bit.
Yes.
To be obedient workers.
Yes.
That is our purpose. That is why, unfortunately, we have a societal thing where you were defined by your job.
Correct.
They go, hey, how are you? What's your name? What do you do?
That's right.
Right? That doesn't happen in these other places because they get that. And what's wild is when you have that mindset, you think that if you're not putting in 60 hours a week, you're lazy and you're a bum and you're no good, right? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
We have to break that mindset. coming out of that, let's look at some facts, right? You studied this in school. You can probably tell me this a little better.
Facts.
What does the data say about productivity in a 4-day work week, Mike?
You actually can look it up through Google and find that out. Off the top of my head, I don't know how, but just figure it out.
It's
the productivity. I don't remember the number, but it is. I don't want to say skyrockets, but the productivity is way more than what we have.
way more. So you don't lose productivity?
Not even
So,
close.
so you work 20% less, and the company doesn't get less done, Mike?
That's correct, Matthew. And here's the other part of it. And I'm being serious. Think back to like my grandfather. Okay, I never met him. He died before I was alive. Why did he die? Because he worked too fucking much.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is, there's a lot of baby boomers who are a little rough, a little angry, a little bitter with that mindset because when they were growing up, dad was never around because he worked all the time. The point is, it's more than just having
And
an
ironically,
extra day
they
off.
still feel like that's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
That's my biggest frustration with those folks.
The irony is that it's the opposite of what they're thinking. Nobody likes to work anymore. No, because guess what? Not only are you going to feel better because you're refreshed, you're making enough money, right? You're going to have a better home life because you're going to be with your family more. You're going to be less angry. It's just there's so much to it.
I'll tell you, one of the reasons that I did it to begin with my IT company, I did it with our very first IT employee, was because the burnout rate in IT is incredibly hard. It's a stressful job.
Very stressful.
Where people only come to you when there's something wrong.
And they're mad at you.
It's your fault. Even if you had never been there before, it's your fault. It's very stressful, and people get burned out easy. And by having one less day a week of that, the career lifespan just becomes exponentially longer. And as a company, we get better people who aren't burned out and miserable and ready to leave a year before they actually do leave.
You nailed it. And I dare say we reframe it as it's not one day less work. It's one day more of a quality of life. One extra day with your family. One extra day to refresh.
And here's what's interesting. The other thing that we do here that's a little unique is you guys in
Toga
your
Tuesdays.
schedule technically have a paid lunch.
What?
So, yeah.
What the fuck, man?
You get paid. Mike doesn't even look at his paycheck.
I don't know. I don't. I love this job.
You get paid 4 9-hour days, which makes up 36 hours. So it's a hair under 40.
Okay.
But that's the thing to keep in mind.
Slacker.
In 4 days, you get 36 hours. So even the most, ardent, full-time 40-hour work week, you're technically working 4 hours less than the average worker, but that gets you an entire day.
Exactly. Exactly.
And again, one of the reasons that it comes out to that number, a lot of companies will pay you for 32 hours, and that's your full week because you don't get a paid lunch. We include that lunch.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference. That's how we get to 36. But again, the point is, even when you think about it, you look at the math and it's technically a 4-hour difference, Do people really imagine that much additional productivity would occur in 4 hours?
You would know more than me, but I mean, it's
How many hours do you stand around the they make you come back to the office now. How many hours at the office do you stand around the water cooler?
Yeah.
Right. And check your Facebook and
how many of those 4 hours are quality hours?
Right.
And look, you're right. I'm going to embrace it because it's like,
Again,
you
we
get an
can go
extra
on
day
and
off.
on.
Yeah, I do, and you should too.
Yeah.
And sorry you don't.
Like I said, we can go on and on about it, but the reality is, don't take our word for it. Just look at the data.
Just look at the data. Well, facts don't matter. It's about my feelings. Anyway, here's one for you. Speaking of which, a change to a certain law is going to be going into effect. For decades, New York's child labor laws allowed kids as young as 11 to legally partake in the time-honored tradition of a paper route, but they are now going to change the minimum age to 14. The move was first reported by Politico, and the change comes even though paper boys and girls have mostly gone the way of phone booths.
I'm so glad for this.
I am too.
I wish they would also lower the age of milkman because, this is a problem that just, needs to be addressed.
It really does. I think... I think...
I'm sorry. Who the fuck even proposed this?
I don't.
Seriously, who is some sort of legislator who's sitting around and is like, You know what we should spend half a second on? Writing legislation about paper boys.
I know. It was my first
You
job.
can read about that in the paper. Oh, wait, they don't exist.
Right.
What the fuck?
Why are we changing it now?
Why don't we write laws about horses and buggies?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Are we, like, is this Bizarro land?
I don't know. I just thought it was wild that we're changing the labor law for an outdated position.
Why?
I don't know. But here's what I do know.
Did Big Paper lobby for this?
I don't know. Kids are. I don't know. Was your first job was McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
See, when I was growing up, it was like your first job was either McDonald's or Paperboy in the Mohawk Valley. I was a Paperboy, and it was exciting because of the video game Paperboy.
Yeah, but did you actually ride and throw it?
No.
That game. That was
So
the best game.
that was the thing that really upset me. I got all excited. I got my first job. I'm going to be a Paperboy. I loved the video game Paperboy. I'm thinking, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like the movies. I'm going to pedal. I'm going to throw it, and the sprinkler's going to go off, and, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The first day I'm loading up my papers, they're like, you got to load up all your papers, fold them, rubber band them, put them in your bag, and don't throw them. You got to walk up to the mailbox. I'm like, well, this sucks. The whole allure to me was chucking it.
This is not what I was sold.
This is not what I signed up for. And I was also, I think, 11. Yeah, but I'd have to be 14.
I have a serious question. Can you still get a paper newspaper in Syracuse? Do they still? I know they cut the daily. Do they still do the Sunday paper? Okay, you still can't get.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, you can get the New York Times, the Washington, like they can send it to you. It costs an arm and a leg. But
And why would you do this?
some people just like the feel of holding a paper. I don't know.
I mean, my kids have pet guinea pigs, but we just buy the bedding now.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right.
We don't need somebody to deliver their trash to us.
I mean, look,
I don't understand this.
strange times, man.
People read the news, like literally it pops up on your fucking arm.
I mean,
You're gonna wait till they print it on a sheet of paper
the only reason I like to read the news is so
and
that I
have
can,
a 10-year-old walk it to your door. It's like, what are we? What? I'm sorry.
I like to read the
Look, I haven't enough coffee
newspapers
today,
just so I can lower it and give a look to my son with
Yeah, you
my
gotta
nose,
do the-
my glasses on my nose, like, son, you know better. Hey, David Muir and Bob Iger were at the Ithaca College commencement ceremony this past weekend. Not sure if you know, but they're both Ithaca College grads.
David Muir is from
ABC
News. He famously lives in a mansion in Skinny Atlas.
Yes, he does. And Iger, who earned his degree in '73, is the chairman and chief executive officer of the Walt Disney Company, which owns
that was the
ABC and
Disney guy.
ESPN. Yeah, you all grew up with Disney as part of the culture, and your parents did, and your grandparents did. Muir said
They spoke at the graduation.
they spoke at the
Both of them?
graduation. Yeah, well,
Get
Iger.
two speakers.
Iger was the scheduled guest, and then David Muir made an
he
surprise.
like had a cameo.
Yeah,
He like crashed the graduation.
he crashed the graduation, and I will say,
Breaking news.
breaking news.
I'm a celebrity and should be allowed to speak as well.
Yes. Move over, Iger. I think they kind of
Step aside, richest man on the planet.
Yeah. Well, also you got to remember, David Muir is Iger's employee because Disney owns ABC
Oh shit.
and ESPN now. So I think
So was it like his
let's-
hype man?
I think so.
Was Iger worried that like he wasn't going to do well and he
Yeah.
had to bring a ringer?
Yeah, and David Muir wore a big clock like
'Cause I
Flava
don't-
Flav.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. But you said he was his hype man. But you know what I love about that? Other than those are two humongous names at my alma
I
mater.
want to see David Muir do the news with a Fava Flav
Dude,
clock.
Someone said this to me the other day, and it's so true. What else could David Muir do? He is your
Doesn't have to do
quintessential news guy. No, I know, but I mean, like, there's nothing else he's meant for. Like, everything, the way he
No,
looks,
he's molded for it, 100%.
his jawline,
Yeah.
the way he talks,
Yeah.
gobble at you. I mean, he is perfect, and he donated a lot of money. We had a great television studio, probably the best studio, at Ithaca College, thanks to him. It was
Nice.
fashioned after the ABC World News Studio.
Wow.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. I just thought I'd bring that up.
And to donate their scrap.
A couple quick, two more news
Hurry up,
stories.
we got a guest, bro.
Yeah, all right. Well, this one I'll just can.
Yeah, fuck
Not that
that.
great.
None.
But I do want to hear this one. In music news,
Sorry.
Jane's Addiction guitarist Dave Navarro told Guitar Player in a new interview that he will never play again with singer Perry Farrell after.
Dave Navarro, he's still around?
Oh yeah, Well, he was hosting. Remember, he was like hosting a fucking
Yeah.
tattoo reality show.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
Master.
Perry Farrell
He was
punched him
Parker.
on stage in Boston last year. I had
That's the most Perry Farrell thing you could do.
Well, he was on drugs again, I think. Here, let's watch it.
So the music is getting better.
So after this incident, you gotta see this thing, man. Check this out. Check
here
this
we
out.
go.
Yeah.
So this.
And you can tell he's on something. So is his James? Yeah. You remember James Addiction, right?
Really? Boy.
But then Clodstein. So here he's just like getting into it. He goes over.
Yeah. It's
All right, now he bumps into Dave.
Fucking shoulder.
Okay.
Bumps him.
Now watch.
Oh, he's like.
And Dave's like, wait, what the fuck?
He's like
You're serious?
like coked up angry guy.
Yeah. And you
And look at him. He's like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah. The crew's getting involved. And Dave Navarro, you see
They're
it.
tackling him.
Yeah, dude. This is a big deal. This is old news, technically.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
just updating the. So, and
No,
you,
as much as Dave Navarro's kind of a douchebag, I got to give it to him. He was just like doing his thing, and bro, like,
well, you saw him go like he thought he was joking at first. Then
Yeah.
you see his face go like, oh wait, this is real.
all right, I'll tell you a quick story. That this happened, something similar
had
like
sex
this
with Carmen
happened
Electra.
to me at
Electra.
Brownies in Herkimer.
Brownies, shout out my home.
Dude, and this was towards the end. I was there with like my girlfriend and my buddy at like happy hour time, not late at night or something. We're standing there having a drink, and there's not many people in the bar. And I order a Labatt's Blue,
Okay.
and this dude who I don't know in the bar, who was hammered drunk, walks over and takes my beer.
Oh.
Why don't you order an American beer?
Oh wow.
And we're all like, the fuck? And it was very similar, just this random weirdo out
Right.
of nowhere.
You almost
Going
didn't
off
believe-
on me.
You thought he was joking.
Yeah, and he was like posting up like he wanted to take a swing on us. And luckily, he wasn't that drunk. And I think when me and my buddy looked down at him,
Oh,
he finally
Maybe it was me.
realized maybe he should fucking chill out. But no, it was a wild time. But it was one of those, like I said, just out of the blue. Here's a guy
Just
you're
looking to
minding your own
fight.
business, and he's just fucking you. You did something.
Yeah. Don't order that Canadian shit.
Literally, I was like, what?
Yeah,
I remember looking at the barmaid and going,
Is this right?
is this guy kidding or like
I don't know.
good times.
Anyway,
But anyway,
so there's a little bit of news for you. We've got Brian Enck coming up.
let's take a break, get the man a chair, and come back with one of the funniest guys in Syracuse
Let's do it.
who's done our show. And we're back.
We are.
Welcome back to Good News York. We've brought in a returning champion.
Is this
I think-
three?
I think this is he's
times.
now. We've had a couple of two visit, but it is the third time.
He's our
Brought
most.
in-
Should we do like a 5-timers club like the
No.
SNL does
No.
at some point?
No,
No.
it just sounds like I have nothing else to do for going on. He keeps coming around.
Which, by the way, and I'm so glad I'm going to just throw this on you right now. We found out
I don't
that
think we
you
even
came
said his
here
name.
on the wrong day.
Don't say my name through this entire clip.
Paul.
Yeah.
You came here the other day. Like, we got done shooting, and Amanda goes, oh, hey, Brian Enck stopped by. He thought he was on today. And we're like, what? Why didn't you? Could have stayed. You could have came on.
I know. Well, I did. I
Not
had
that
I had the
cool,
day.
dude.
I had the day wrong, and go figure. The first time I was here, I was an hour late. Second
love it.
time, yeah,
You made up for it.
made up for it by
And you
coming a
walked in.
week early.
Yes. And you're wearing a Yankee hat.
Comedian Brian Enck, he is the man. Last time we were here,
Morning.
we were talking about him shooting a comedy special here in Syracuse, which still to me is just an awesome concept. You know, I'm somebody who grew up watching these HBO specials with the biggest names and like to see it. We were there. I went to one of the tapings, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Went to the late.
Um,
You went to the drunk taping.
Great comedy show.
Thanks.
First of all, and just to see the whole thing, how it worked. You had a professional. This wasn't like, you know, my buddy in the back with his handy cam. You had a
Oh.
legit production crew.
the whole deal.
Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about how it went and how you're feeling about it.
It was great. First, thanks for coming. It was, and thank you guys for helping me promote it. It definitely
pleasure.
we got a lot of butts and seats because of your viewership. So thanks everybody who came out. Which one's my camera?
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
We'll get you on
so
all of them.
much. It's
Up
the top.
there.
It's
Yeah.
the top cam. But yeah, it went really well. We did 2 tapings. And I'll hit the highlights. First one, pretty standard, went through pretty good. Good audience. I'd say if I had to describe them, they might have been a little bit tighter, which was fine. But also, there was just a lot of funny stuff that happened. Like one was, and it was not their fault at all. Katie and Abdul, who were the hosts in the feature, there was this weird sound thing where they were over in a corner talking, but the sound carried and it like went right to me. And I could hear their conversation weirdly, and I couldn't be like, "Hey guys, shut up,"
Right.
because people would think I'm crazy.
Sure.
So I had to kind of just keep going with hearing it. And I told them in the second show they were very apologetic, and they had no reason to be. But then there was like weird stuff, like there was a swing dance class above because we're in this basement space.
Oh my
And
God.
so I can hear the swinging, and that was really funny. But again, I didn't address it because I'm like, maybe it's just me that can only hear this.
People do that? I didn't know
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
still
yeah.
a thing.
No, there's swingers everywhere.
There sure is. Go on.
Just got to watch
Line.
which one of those websites you go to.
If they have a pineapple in their house, that means that they are swingers
right, I
and they
just learned
want to
that.
dance with you.
Yeah, if you see a
Okay,
pineapple
fair enough.
symbol,
They want to dance.
they want to dance. That's it. Also, side note: when I was managing a music venue a few years back, they had swing dance nights, and I'm telling you, these people would show up and show out, and they would take it very
I
seriously.
didn't
Oh,
mean
yeah.
to go off on this tangent, but that actually makes me. I think it's a cool genre, and
It
I
is
feel like
cool.
it
Very
deserved more love than
Except
it got
for
in
when
the
you're
'90s when it was.
Trying
Yeah.
to tape a
Poppin'.
comedy show.
Yeah, it's not great for when you. At least they weren't Irish stompers. That would have been.
Yeah.
That would have been
Riverdance?
Riverdance. Yeah, exactly. So that was fun. First taping goes well. We had some video tech issues as you do, but that's why you have two tapings. And then the second one was so we everybody leaves. I kind of say thank you quickly, but it's a quick turnover, so we're getting ready. And I met my lovely wife upstairs, Jamaica Cuse, who's gonna plug right now. They were kind of our restaurant lobby area. They were great and took care of everybody. And so I go up and see my wife up there. Her cousins had come to visit for the special. And it's like, I think the show starts at 9. It was like 8:50 and there was no one downstairs. And so in my head, I was like,
Oh my god.
oh, it's just going to be my wife and her cousins. And that's going to be really kind of embarrassing. I'm going to feel bad about this. And I was like, hey, I think it's just going to be you guys. And she goes, oh, no, everyone's trying to find parking. I was like, who are these people that are just trying? And she goes, well, because Cher. And I was like, what does Cher have to do with anything about what's going on right now?
Because if you could turn back time,
If I could, yeah.
I don't know.
And so the Cher musical was in town on that night.
across the street,
So
literally.
And so every parking spot had a retirement card on it and was just all these blue-haired old ladies are trying to find parking. They're taking up 3 spaces with their giant Buicks. And we just, so everyone was, and then sure enough, like a little bit late, it just, a group of 10, a group of 12, and we filled up the same size that, I think we had 60 people at each show, which was great. And it was super fun. It was definitely the drunker audience, which was also very funny. In particular, I have some friends who I played disc golf with, and I love them. And they came in, and they were like, hey, man, we just came from the bar. And he did a Manhattan like a shot because we didn't want to be late. And I was like, oh no. And they were so great, but it was also this very sweet moment where there's a couple, and I play disc golf with them, and they're an interracial couple. I do an interracial bit, and usually I go, anyone doing interracial relationships, and they'll be like, woo, or something like that, kind of just like a polite woo. I go, anyone doing interracial, and in the back they just go, woo. So you remember, I was like, oh, we can't use this take. But yeah, so it was very fun. It was nice to see a bit of a tighter and a very loose audience. And yeah, so, and then finish it up. What no one saw was after everything was said and done, it was like a Bruce Springsteen music video. I had to just put all the chairs back and all the, you know what I mean? It's this thing, like I was like, I did it. And I was like, oh, I got to clean up.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a very fun experience. Right now, we're just going to start editing and putting it together. And, but even the half hour that I have of just the wide, I was like, I really like this. This is good. So,
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, it was a great set. I just want to say, like, the material and everything, as much as we're talking about the production and all that, just the comedy was
The
great.
most important part.
Thanks. Well, we talked about it on the pod. We were like, when are you ready? When you know when it's time
Yeah.
to, unleash, do this material and do it, and it was just at that point, I think I'd done some of those jokes like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was actually one of those ones where I was kind of done doing them. And so I just kind of
Sure.
got excited about them, did them with the most energy I could do them with. And now it's very funny going on to shows now and being like, I got nothing.
Yeah, starting from scratch.
A lot of crowd work.
I'm glad that 9 o'clock went well for you because I remember that was the one you were real worried about.
Yeah.
Because ticket sales wise, it wasn't showing. Thanks, Cher.
Stupid Cher.
but-
Well, I got to thank the Funny Bone also, and Rob, the manager over there. He let me drop off because I was doing shows the weekend before with Dan Porter, and they both let me drop off QR codes, and I mentioned them after my set, like, hey, if you enjoyed any of this, I'm taping. So that was a huge part. Chris Porter, I'm so sorry, Chris. I love you.
Chris,
He won't
love
see
you.
this.
Yeah, no one sees this. It's fine. So let me ask you this, and it sounds like a hack question, but it's not because, we're in a unique world now where at the level that you are at, you can pretty much design and do your own special, which is amazing. What is there one or two things that you're like, you know what, next time I do it, I am not doing this?
Oh, that's a great question.
For those other comedians listening.
So if I were to do it again, and actually there's a couple comics who are great, who kind of had great questions to ask. Bill Lake is one of them. He should definitely come on your pod sometime.
Love Bill.
He's working on his half hour, and he was kind of asking me, and I think if anyone was to do any taping, whether it be music or stand-up or anything like that, I would say an usher /
Ooh.
somebody to make sure that the show people are sitting and other stuff is getting done.
Just overseeing the
An
audience.
usher / gopher, not in a disrespectful way of but I had to run over to Funk and Waffles, thank you Funk and Waffles, because we had to get 4 sound cords to connect, and we just didn't have enough with where we had things set up. So that would have been great to be able to do that. So I would definitely say an usher, gopher. And then I would have done, on our first visit, I would have done more testing of look and sound and stuff like that, because we kind of went into that. We knew what we wanted, but we went into it pretty blind. And that was pretty hard to kind of have them be like, okay, this is the first time we're looking at this set, and let's try to find spots to shoot. And so definitely would have that, a clear shot list. But yeah, I think just the biggest one was to have somebody who could have run around to take care of things that I had to take care of.
That you shouldn't have to.
A
when
production
you're trying
assistant
to
or
shoot.
something.
Yeah, and it's and the other part of it too is there is a little bit of the professionalism gets taken down a little bit of being the headliner, the reason why people are there when you're moving seats and running up to grab their drinks,
Sure.
stuff like that. Just because I wanted to do that stuff so everyone was comfortable, but it definitely changes people subconsciously if
Absolutely.
the first time they see me is me coming onto stage
Sure.
versus me being like, okay, so it's 2 beers and then I'll get you one more seat. And then because when they're like, you're a headline, like, he just sat us. Why would I care about what?
Right.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it's. I went through the same stuff in comedy, but in music as well, where, you do this big show, and then you're like, thank you, good night, and then you come back out and you slowly roll up your guitar chord, and but even that's the trade-off for not needing. Like I said, we can create our own specials now. This is the trade-off of not having a production company like Netflix involved and taking a cut. So, it's a little bit of give and take, but that's
Well, it's interesting. I just kind of heard that a lot of people are, maybe Netflix will shift this, but Netflix, I think the best deal out there right now is Hulu, because Hulu lets you put the special up on your YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I think there every 2 or 3 years you can re-sign your contract and let it go other places. So that's a good deal.
That's cool.
But right now, as I understand it, Netflix writes you a check, and then you can do whatever you want with it. But if you want Netflix quality, that means that there's comics who have spent all that money or more because they understand that the opportunity is to get eyeballs on them, and then your tours hopefully get busier and stuff like that. But yeah, a Netflix special really is more of a serviceable investment than it is a victory lap of the material that you've been working on.
Gotcha.
So it is pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't do it or there isn't obvious pros to it. Like Mark Norman's a great example. Sam
Just saw him in Ithaca a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
great. And Sam Morrell did this on Amazon. And so they both I think had a YouTube special and then got the offer to do something on a platform, and they knew, well, if I do this, then the first one's going to get a lot more eyeballs. And then sure enough, that's what ended up happening. And so the platforms definitely can help you build an audience, whereas YouTube, you get more both financial and creative control and from the audience you already have.
Yeah.
So
It's like the old
really
record labels. Same kind of, same kind of
and
concept.
speaking of which, I'd like to thank the 7 audience members that I have on a regular basis. You guys are great.
You guys are awesome. We love you. The Magnificent Seven, we call them.
Brian, we got a few other things we want to jump into, but I just want to, if you could, just take a minute, tell folks what happens next, right? So obviously we know you edit the thing and you create a finished special. What happens with it next? You put it on YouTube, kind of like we're talking about here, or what do you do?
So Mike Abbott, who is my director, producer extraordinaire, he and I are going to sit down with the material and write down what we want it to look like and what shots we have available to kind of put this together. And then from there, it's shopping it around to production companies. There's one in particular that I've already reached out to who kind of started this whole thing, and I'd love to work with them. And so we'll go from there, and then that's kind of where that is. There'll be a lot of promotion of, hey, I'll come back on and say, hey, it's going to air. Go check it out. Get to do my digital panhandling is what I call it. For a month there. I was just on Facebook with a cup going, please come to my show.
Please give me change. My
Yeah. And so that's the next stage for it, is just cutting it together, putting it up, and being happy with however it turns out.
So when you say working with production companies, is that for the distribution portion of it?
Yeah, I mean, because again, the 7 people who follow me on YouTube, my channel isn't something. And the first half hour, that was the same issue. Was I felt good about it, but there wasn't anywhere for people to see it. And so production companies definitely have a great value of having that audience and being able to push it. They also know how to cut up the material and promote, like you guys have with your team here. And so it's one of those things where, just want to finish it, let them or whoever wants it want it, and then hopefully can put some tour dates around it because people like it.
Awesome.
And that's kind of the goal, right? Kind of to what you were speaking to earlier, is not necessarily that this thing is going to make you rich, but that it'll get the eyeballs that drive ticket sales and in other social media channels and kind of build your community. Is that a accurate description?
I remember I had this conversation with a comic in Albany, and he's a great comic and a legend, but we kind of disagreed. He was like, I think stand-up is the platform to do other things like movies and da-da-da-da. And I said, actually, in my experience, stand-ups only really want to do stand-up. We don't want to do movies. We don't want to do the TV show. They're fun and all that stuff. But there's so much more work than just showing up 15 minutes before the show. We're very lazy people. We really want to work about 2 hours max a day.
That's most.
And we're if a Frenchman and a Greek mother were raised by Italian grandparents. You're just we're napping a lot. We love the Spanish mentality. We're taking it very easy, and so.
We eat meals before lunch.
Absolutely.
Between lunch and dinner.
Complaining about things. So that's kind of the thing. And I think that with the, people talk about the 80s and 90s stand-up boom. There wasn't, I think there's and this is Mark Norman and Sam Morrell, they were saying they know 8 comics who are doing stadium tours right now.
Yeah.
That's never happened before. And so podcasts are a huge reason why that's possible. Just the straight to, connecting to your audience right away is a huge part of it. So, I think that for me right now, the goal is to get it up there and then hopefully build some tour dates around that because I just like doing stand-up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's wild because we've kind of talked about this before too, where those same comics that are, selling out stadiums could probably walk around in that city before and after the show. And maybe 1 out of 5 people would recognize them because it's such a niche. Like you have your locked in social media audience, and they're your hardcore fan base. But not everybody's watching and consuming the same content.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's I went to a Matt Rife show, and it's like they put up a bat signal for 23-year-old girls named Becky. It was incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of Becky's.
Remember,
Yeah.
they just flocked there. It was
There's a great Dan Soder who's an amazing stand-up
Love
comic.
him so much.
I think he was in Pittsburgh. No, he was in Salt Lake City, I think. And this has never happened before. And he's such a great guy, and he had no shame in it. He goes, I wasn't selling tickets. And Matt Rife had just been starting to blow up a little bit. What they did was, if you bought tickets to Dan Soder's show, you entered in a raffle to be able to get tickets to Matt Rife's show. And so all the shows sold out because all these Beckys showed up.
They wanted to see Matt
try
Rife
to-
instead.
yeah,
That's
to see
genius.
Matt Rife.
every Kylie, Kendall, and Kendra showed up.
I mean,
Look at that.
that's going to happen to me. I'm sure I'm going to have
Will.
ticket sales that aren't going, and they're just going to put a raffle together so that they can go see
So funny.
some influence.
I actually love that idea.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think that's a
It's
brilliant.
not a terrible idea.
to do that.
Come see me, and you could get a free $10 car wash.
Yeah.
You know?
Could I
We
think
could do a lot with
we could
that.
too.
Yeah.
We're so happy for you. But do you have any shows coming up that you can plug? Anything going on yet?
I'm in North Carolina in 2 weekends with Steve Byrne. So if you're in the North Carolina area in Charlotte, go check
We have
that
a
out.
huge North Carolina fan
We
base.
do.
And then I'm at the Utica Theater. Actually, let's vamp for a bit. Tell me about the game.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime guy.
Yeah. What is this game anyway?
Oh, the game?
I want to play.
So
and I don't even necessarily
I saw
understand the rules.
this on, I don't know where I saw it. One of the shows I watch. There's like this
Pornhub.
new thing where they're putting up, Danny, if you want to cue it up here, it's a chart. Now, I designed this chart, okay? This took a lot of work, all right?
He's
It's-
he's
if
literally
you
been
were-
on this for 4 days.
If you were sitting on a plane.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah. So if you were sitting on a plane,
Okay.
okay, and these seats were open, where would you sit and why?
And we're ignoring the fact that some are dead.
Some are dead.
We're pretending like they're alive.
It's
Mostly
just a
because
game.
I wanted to segue into something I had to say about Princess Di and Pee Wee Herman. So I purposely threw
So
He
them in
came
it.
up with this for one random bit
Yeah.
that he wants to
I
bring
mean,
up.
he's a super
Pretty
producer
much.
right here.
But
Should we? Let me ask you this. So, and maybe this is part of the game, and forgive me if I'm skipping ahead, but
strict
should
rules.
we go over who each of these folks are
Yeah.
first?
So first, in the number 2 spot, top left, you've got Hakatua.
And then just so we're clear, once we start, the whole point is each of us will go around and pick which seat we're going to sit in.
Yeah,
and just
you have
why. Just
open
like
cho-
why you would.
Why are you
Sit
choosing that
next
seat?
to
Like,
Oh, and they
okay.
can see it.
and
Okay,
there's a
okay.
few, and I will admit, Brian, that I made this before I knew you were gonna be a part of this. So, like, I included people that I know Matt likes, because he's weird. So not all of them, but some of them. So we've got in the back row, seats 2 and 3. You've got Hakatua and Pee Wee Herman.
Good old Haley Welch.
Yep, and then you've got an aisle seat open where you could be next to Bob Ross and Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's got the window seat. Now, you can get crazy. You could hit seat number 8, and that is you're sitting between Mr. Beast and then that social influencer you love. What's his name?
Hassan Piker.
Yeah, Hassan Piker.
Mhm.
This one I love. So the reason I chose this one is you could get the middle seat between OJ and Lee Harvey Oswald. You could find out some
I'm
shit.
saving my thoughts.
Because there's a lot of conspiracy between those two. You could sit in aisle seat 15, where you're next to Howard Stern, and Jon Stewart's got the window seat. Now, if you really want to celebrate some douchebaggery, seat 17, you're between Dave Portnoy of Barstool and Joe Rogan. Love them
Top row
both, but
seat.
window seat, your boy Gary V. You could sit next to him
Okay.
and Ken Jeong. Diversity. And then we've got some animated characters. You could sit next to Cartman, who is also next to the Dragon Ball Z guy. Then last 2, you could sit next to Oprah, who's next to Princess Di, or you could sit between Obi-Wan Kenobi or Princess Leia. So that's the layout, and
Holy
obviously we'll
shit.
show it on the screen when we.
All right. Am I going first?
Sure.
All right. First, I got to give you some thoughts on this layout.
Mhm.
So like a couple of these. So like, Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's the dude next to Bob Ross there, right? That's the Hamilton guy. Am I
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
See, he's kind of a loss because you're going to sit in that empty seat. You're nowhere near him anyway. So it's, do you want to sit next to Bob Ross?
Interesting. I like that.
And that's probably the safest seat in the whole airplane. It's next to Bob Ross.
If you had a piece of loose leaf paper and you sat there, would you ask him to draw you something?
Maybe.
Happy Little Trees.
Happy Little Trees. He needs a paintbrush. He's not a pencil artist.
All right.
The influencer seat 8 there. Now that's an interesting one.
That's
'cause
what
you got
my money's on that. for
Mr.
you.
Beast and Hassan. That's man, that might be some fun conversations.
Mhm. Especially with your, this gig.
Here's the
Let
thing.
alone-
Now, I also say, you want to talk about safest. I sort of feel like sitting between OJ and Lee Harvey.
Oh, interesting. You feel safe.
Ain't nobody gonna fuck with you there.
That's interesting because most people
You
look at
know.
that and go, "Oh my God, that's insane! You're trapped. Two murderers." But
And on the other
none of-
side of that, we're on a plane, so there's a reasonable expectation that they've been stripped of any weapons.
Mhm.
So
knives.
I'm not too concerned about that. Again, we got Howard and John Stewart.
You got
What a
Lee-
great couple! But you're going to be on the end, so really, you're only going to talk to Howard.
There you go.
Which, the king of all media. If there's anybody you could talk to on a long flight, that would be the guy.
I love where
The
you're at.
Pod Bros seat, right? 17. Looking at this.
We're in the
Looking at
back.
this. Here's the thing. I'm not one of these bros who loves either one of those dudes. I'm also not one of these people who hates either one of those dudes.
Okay. Me too. I'm in the middle. Yeah.
And I'm just going to tell you that I would avoid that seat
Okay.
because I think those two dudes would spend the whole flight talking over you to each other.
Excellent.
All right.
I love
so that's the first one I'm actually eliminating is 7.
Okay.
All right. Kim Jong and Gary V. Again, you don't get both of them.
Don't.
I love Gary V. Kim Jong is the funnier one, which almost makes me think he might monopolize Gary V's time. So I'm just going to end up sitting next to the window.
Okay.
Hey, man, let me tell you, man. Here's the things it's going to do, man. You just got to make content every day, man, consistently. That's the best Gary V impression I've ever done. Cartman and so who's the fella next to Cartman?
It's some guy from Dragon Ball Z.
Goku.
Goku, thank you. I don't watch anime.
Go
but I
kart?
do-
Is that
I'm trying to.
That's
little something for
that's
everybody.
go kart from.
what is he?
Spain.
Is he like
it's go kart.
Actually, the two of them, Cartman, they would be go kart.
That's-
And in Goku, characters can come together in Dragon Ball Z to become one superpower.
Jeez.
So if they were to do that, they would become go
Yep,
kart.
and I planned it that way.
Honestly, the most I know about anime is the South Park Chim Pokemon episode. So, I guess I gotta ask this dude. So he's got this orange. Is he like a prisoner? Did he break out of jail? Is that
I
why
don't
he's
know.
wearing the
Sounds
orange?
like Brian would know more.
No, he's just a fighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's in the anime world. He's
he-
like
he's a
the
good
Hulk
guy?
Hogan. He's the
Yeah. Okay.
He's like the not,
I would say he's like Superman. That he's also the most
Yeah.
recognizable.
there you go. There you go.
Does he plays the Pokeballs?
Mhm.
Is that okay?
He'll poke your balls. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
He will poke your balls.
Let's see who else we got on this plane. Oprah and Princess Di. I
Mhm.
would never in a million years sit in that seat.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you would have sex with Oprah. But
Oh
anyway.
God!
Well, yeah, but here's something to think about with the Oprah doc.
Listen, Oprah's brilliant.
Think
I
about-
just
think
don't
about
want to.
what
I don't
think
want to
of-
do. I feel like if I sat there, I would end up doing Oprah,
Here's
and then I'm going to jump on the seat, and they're going to throw me out.
That's fair. Here was my way of thinking. Imagine just
Wait, when you say
listening-
doing Oprah, you mean do her impression?
No, I mean
Hooking
like
up
I'm
with
on
her?
her show. Like,
Oh.
sorry. I thought you were saying you were going to hook up with Oprah.
no,
Risky
Oh,
and
sorry.
gross.
Yeah.
I 100% would. She is
yeah,
a
of
treasure.
course. But my
You
way
get
of
an
thinking,
orgasm. You get an orgasm.
I mean,
my way of thinking was imagine
money
the
in that.
conversation you could listen in on between her and Princess Di, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of my sales pitch for
I
that.
feel like they just
See.
like talk about
my sales pitch for
fancy shit or tea that I don't care about.
my sales pitch for Haktua is you're in the back corner. Imagine what she could do to you, and imagine what Pee-wee would be doing while he's watching.
Oh, that's the. Oh, that's
I
the
see what you
back.
did
I
there.
understand. I thought that was the front. 'cause
Oh,
it's
maybe
long.
it is.
Yeah, I think it
don't
is.
know.
No, but you face it towards the back.
Yeah.
Okay, then keep going, and then I'll do mine.
I was just going to say this last row. So we got the Star Wars
That's
folks.
because I know you love Star Wars.
I do love Star Wars, and that would be a great seat. So I guess I got to pick.
Yeah.
Let me give me my final answer here.
I'm excited. My vote was seat 8 if I had to pick.
I'm leaning strongly towards seat 8. Yeah, I'm going to go with seat 8. Because of the row, but also because you got Bob Ross in front of you. I feel like he would be the most courteous not jamming the seat in your back sort of
He's just
type of fella.
he's just painting a
you
happy
know?
tree behind.
That's
you.
right. Just happy little trees.
And also, I feel like most people would not have my level of security with the two killers behind me, which means there's probably nobody in seat 11, and I can recline my feet.
I'm really proud of you because you thought outside the box. That was my thinking with seat 21 next to Gary V, is if you wanted to double dip, you could also probably listen in and talk to Portnoy and Rogan if you leaned over your seat. And then you could laugh your ass off with Cartman and, Go-Kart, who's in front of you.
damn it.
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you think? What do you think?
I can wrap it around this. Okay, so
go.
if one's in the back, yeah, you do the hawk tour girl,
Sure.
but I don't find white women attractive, so I'm not gonna do that
Fair.
anymore. Also, we could talk about Pee-wee. He got in trouble for what? Masturbating in an adult movie theater. That's where
Yes.
you're supposed to do it. I don't know why he ever got bashed for that.
I agree.
Porn did not exist. He had to, or video. We don't have Pornhub. He did what he had to do. Number 6 would be fun because I could pitch the Bob Ross musical done by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, shit.
Number 8 does nothing for me because Mr. Beast would be like, we got this crazy idea. We're going to treat
some money?
everyone like a slave. And you're like, okay, no, I'm okay. And the guy on the right, I know he's an influencer, but he's got so much jewelry, he just would jingle the whole time. And that would
Fair.
bother because the young people wear grandma's pearls now for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
11, I'm going to leave that open so they can murder each other. That'd be funny. But 15, I'm good. If I was sitting next to Jon Stewart, I could do it. I'm not a huge Howard Stern fan because I didn't grow up with it. I didn't grow up with it.
Okay.
And when I see him now, he reminds me a lot of 17, of not particularly, just not anything that I think the interviewees, like Oprah's a fantastic interviewer.
Sure.
I think, I'm trying to look at the rest of the list. I think that, and this is a controversial opinion, Howard Stern and Joe Rogan, the talent that is in that show and their empire is with their producers, not them individually.
Wow.
Because they're able to get great guests on, but I don't think that they bring anything specifically interesting to an interview or a conversation. I know how, I know it's sacrilegious to say that about Howard Stern,
Listen,
but he's
titled.
he'll just have porn stars on. He's like, so you have sex? That's wild. What's that like? Terrible Howard Stern impression. 17, I wouldn't go because fuck Boston sports.
Yeah.
Again, Joe Rogan, he's not wearing a mask and he's shooting elk blood into his neck, and I just don't need that in my life. 21 could be fun. They have the same, you know what it is? Their voice has the same frequency that if you ever try to get a glass, it's just going to shatter. So that's not going to work. 22, I'm okay because, again, these two are just going to become one person, the go-kart, and then Mario shows up to drive away on them.
Yep.
25 could be fun. Again, it's the reverse of Haktua. Oprah's a beautiful woman, and would be fine with that. And then 29, I love Star Wars, so I would go there. I would go 29 because go Star Wars. It's the best.
Excellent.
Real quick, what do you think your no, you're fine. I wonder what the topic of conversation would be.
For who?
The Star Wars people.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't watch Star Wars. I'm not
Yes.
a Star Wars guy.
What do you got, buddy?
I'm gonna just keep it brief. I mean, look. Bottom line, I'm picking seat 11 because I want to feel like no one's gonna mess with me.
Okay.
But I have so many questions about the killings. I feel like
you want to dig in?
I want to dig in,
Okay.
and I want to find out what really happened, and then I'm going to go on a book tour or a speaking tour, and I'm going to make a ton of money off that. And by the way, one of my heroes, Howard Stern, will be right in front of me. And,
Which
so I would just reach over.
So let me ask you, which one are you more interested in the details from, OJ or Lee Harvey?
Honestly, probably Lee Harvey.
Yeah, I think that's
because there's
better.
way more conspiracy surrounding that. And
like, did you actually even shoot him?
right.
We
What's
know
this second gunman, third gunman? Let's brass tacks here. And if you were going to do it today, how would you do it? I mean, there's so many ways.
How did the magic bullet come to be? And he's
Yeah.
like, well, actually, it really was magic.
Yeah.
I'm a wizard.
Right. And by
That's
the
why
way,
I'm actually in black and white on the airplane.
I'll say two quick things. One is I think Pee Wee Herman is one of the most underrated characters to ever exist in pop culture. I think it is a genius character. And Princess Di,
Have you ever seen his comedy? Like,
stand up?
yeah,
No,
it's
Paul
phenomenal.
Rubens?
Yes,
I've never seen his stand up.
And you're right. The character Pee Wee that he created is absolutely phenomenal. But if you see the stuff, he's one of these guys who plays like a goofy, very juvenile character, and was actually incredibly an intelligent guy. and a lot of his other stand-up, a lot of other comics that knew him well, he got branded for that horrible, indecent thing that he did. But a lot of, like I said, the real comics will talk about the respect that they gave that guy for genuine comedy chops.
I mean, he launched, arguably launched Phil Hartman's career, but just the movies were part of my childhood.
Lawrence
They're
Fishburne?
hilarious. Lawrence Fishburne, yep. They had Cherry and Mecca-Lecca-Hi, Ho, and
The bike, I loved the bike.
the rubber band
With all
ball.
the gadgets.
Pee-wee's Playhouse I used to watch. So I was a big fan, but I just think, looking back now, I mean, my God, even with SNL characters, I just think because of the incident where he bopped his baloney in a theater where you're supposed to do it, I guess, he didn't get the credit. It was just an amazing character. And then Princess Di, I took one of those.
Did you take a college class on her too?
No, I got a what do you call them? DNA test done, and I paid $10 extra to see if I was related to any celebrities. No bullshit. Can you pull up the picture of Princess Di real quick? It should be a
$10 extra.
I paid
if I was
$10
related
extra
to a celebrity.
on my genetic test.
You know the answer is yes.
Hold on. Do I look like her?
For $10.
I need a crown, but
I mean, all white people look the same.
Oh,
He's
that's
got
true.
you there.
Yeah.
all you missed,
Are you-
Ryan, was that
So you're a descendant of Princess Di?
I guess I paid when I took the
cousin
DNA
or
test. They
something?
said if you want to pay $10 extra, we'll check and.
Which technically she wasn't the
Keep
royal
your-
family, so I guess it doesn't mean anything.
No, I don't have royal blood technically, but apparently I am.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm related. The only thing you missed, I'd love to hear
Sorry, I had
your
it back.
opinion is. No, it's fine. You're so cool. Now that you shot your special, you're taking calls in the middle of interviews.
My
I
agent.
said 20 million per movie. I said that I think Pee Wee Herman is one of the most underrated characters of all time. I think it's genius.
This is another one that's tricky because I didn't, and not that he wasn't in my time.
No, I get it.
If you don't grow up with something,
I did. So that maybe it's
It's
more about me.
It's the same thing of like when I go to India to visit with my wife Lakshmi's family, it's hard talking about cultural stuff because if you didn't grow up with it and it's not ingrained, like try to explain Fight Club to someone who grew up in South India. Like I would literally, I was like, we should watch American movies when you come and visit. And I was like, oh, Fight Club's a classic. And he was like, oh, is that where they like fight each other to make money so they can feed their family? And I was like,
oh, geez.
no, Edward Norton thinks IKEA has too many choices, and that's the downfall of society.
Want to hear something wild?
And so Pee-wee is my Fight Club as a South Indian. It doesn't make not that it doesn't make sense. I just didn't grow up with it. But I love anything that's going to be. I mean, let's be honest. Pixar did what Pee-wee was doing beforehand,
That's
which
right.
is kids and adults are laughing at something together.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And that had never really been done before. So it's one of those things where even though I didn't grow up with it, I can see the
Appreciate it.
amazing. Yeah, I can appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just want to say real quick now that you're back, I got to give you a little shit.
Please.
I'm excited. I don't know.
Howard Stern is probably one of the best interviewers you could
I
find
could not
Okay.
agree more.
ever in the history
Okay.
of the world. Now,
Like,
here's the thing
amazing.
though. If you don't watch and listen to his show, and to do so to really understand it is like you got to invest. You
Yeah.
got to be one of these fucking listeners who's
I
hours and hours and hours. But if you're not, you get exactly kind of what Brian said. It's the interview and the strippers. Those are the clips you hear the most, and in the shit that he's most famous for, the dirty stuff. But he'll get A-list, Billy Joel and like these
Dude.
big name people to open up
I haven't missed.
in a way that you will never find in any other
Okay.
interview.
I haven't missed.
And I'm very open to the idea of being wrong. I've been married 2.5 years. I'm getting very used to it.
And like I said,
have
I don't,
no issue.
I don't even want to give you much shit because it's one of those things like, there's one of these, this guy on the podcast is phenomenal. And you'd only know that if you were a fan and listened
Right.
to 40 hours of
Yeah,
fucking
I-
podcast, I certainly can't blame you. But I got to throw Howard
He's
little
he's
defense.
the Goku of
Yes.
morning talk show
Sure.
radio. And if you're not watching the 40 hours of it, you don't realize how important he is.
Yeah, I haven't missed an episode of Howard Stern since 1997, and I'm
That's
not
wild.
joking. I listen every single day, and I respect your opinion because, like Matt said, unless you're in that world, you're not going to just tune in for an interview. But you have to remember too, he wasn't always a great interview. This was an evolution over
Okay.
time, and his interviews, especially the one with Steven Tyler, is one of my favorites. It is unlike any other interviews you listen to. Because he talks, it's like this, but just with so much depth and so much.
The shit he gets out of
Shit.
people,
It-
sort of because he can be raunchy, right? He has sort of that license to get
Okay.
personal, and sometimes this, like I said, the stuff he gets out of people is not something you'll find.
No,
Okay, then I will give him.
you're not
a
wrong. You can have a
revisit.
different opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, from that photo, it looks like he's got 6 months left.
Yes.
So we'll see how much I can watch.
You want to hear something crazy real quick? Because I know we got to go. You said Fight Club. I will never experience Fight Club because someone told me the fucking ending before I watched it. That's like the one movie.
There was
You cannot do that.
There was one.
I don't know.
Rosie O'Donnell.
That was a lot.
I remember Rosie O'Donnell saw it and she spoiled it for like thousands of people who were watching it because she was like, I didn't like it, and you know,
I
it's
didn't
weird.
like it. It was very
And he's got an imaginary friend, and you're like, no.
I'll
Yeah.
be honest. I feel like you could still appreciate. That's one of those.
You know, I
movies that-
did, and I liked it, but the whole time I'm like, oh look.
No, I'm with you though. Like, don't fucking ruin it for me. But
Mind you, it was years later, but still.
But what's also fun too is watching it again, because it is a great movie. Watching it again, you also get to see the nuances and the specific things where you
Yes.
realize, oh, he really
Like
is
when they're in the kitchen?
one. Yeah.
When they're in the kitchen and they're talking, I'm like, oh my god.
There's like small details when they crash the car. Edward Norton
Mhm.
gets out on the side that would have been the driver's side because he was actually driving, and
What a
or whatever
positive-
it was.
You're right. That is actually, and that's the way I consumed it because I had no choice. I knew the ending, and you're right. It was kind of a fun angle because you're like,
Yeah.
right. That's why he, like you said, that's why he's not doing that. That's why he's sitting there. So
That
yeah, okay.
that reminds me of, oh God, I think it's John Mulaney, or no, it's Tennessee kid, Nate Bargatze. He does a
Love
great
him.
joke about The Sixth Sense and how that movie, he clearly is shot at the beginning. He clearly has died, and he's having meetings. He's getting dinner with his wife. But it made more sense to us, the audience, married people, that they would just sit in silence and eat. The idea that maybe something's wrong, and
Right.
something happened.
Right.
No one was like, "Why aren't they talking?" They're like, "Whoop, been there."
Yeah. So checks out.
So goddamn funny.
not wrong.
He's not
Wow,
wrong.
what a chock-full episode.
Yeah.
My God.
I think it's time to wrap. But before we do,
Thanks for having me.
Brian Enck, give us your plug. Just tell people
Yeah,
where they
man.
can
Brian
find
Enck.
you.
What's
Oh,
going on?
I have, I was able to pull this up. So, Charlotte, North Carolina, in 2 weeks. It's going to be a super fun one. And then I am closer at the Utica Theater the 21st.
Stanley?
I think the show's at 7. I don't really know. The goal of the special is to get a manager who can tell me where to go and what to do.
That
'cause I
is the dream.
have no idea. But that'll be a fun one at the Utica Theater. And
Stanley? It's the Stanley
Which
Theater,
theater
right?
in Utica?
I don't.
Yeah.
know.
Uptown?
It's got to be the Stanley.
Or the Stanley?
Again.
Oh, maybe it is the Uptown.
Yeah, it's the Uptown one. Is that the one that they're like doing renovations?
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
It's that one.
Okay.
Great.
So yeah, I work exclusively with theaters that aren't done being built yet.
Brian Enck, we love you. What's the name of your special?
Letters are hard.
And it's coming out sometime.
Sometime.
When he's done with it.
Editing. Well, we're done. Editing starts this week, and we go from there.
We love you.
Do you block out time? Like, do you have a kind of a schedule for editing, and you know,
Yeah, I don't have a
not sort of when we get to it sort of deal?
yeah I don't have
No,
a date
it's
for it.
scheduled, but then it turns into I'll just get to it.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Well,
what happens.
I do timers. Timers are big for me, and so I'll do an hour of editing, and then see how I feel about it, and see if we can give it another hour, or if something else has to come up. So
I love that
we'll
approach.
go from there. Yeah, definitely. Timers are huge.
All right.
Brian Enck, he will no doubt be back again. He's one of our favorite guests to have
love
on, and
you.
he's not even too far away.
I got nothing else going on.
For Mikey B, our man Danny behind the board, I'm Matt, and
We'll see you
peace
tomorrow.
out.